All right, welcome to another fun edition of Gamers Den. All right, and we've got a new person joining us today.
Yes.
Everybody, welcome Vinny. Vinny,
hello, everyone.
I'm not good at intros.
Well,
You're better at introducing
lazy.
He's just lazy. He's been too busy playing that whole thing with the baseball game because Jacoby's over there. He had his first home game on yesterday, I believe it was the first home game.
The first home game was 2 days ago.
2 days
Yesterday
ago.
we had a postpone and we got a doubleheader today.
Oh wow!
But enough about baseball.
Yeah,
Vinny, take it away.
Introduce yourself, everyone.
Yep, Vinny, I'm just so glad you find you on the website.
Oh my gosh,
Sorry about that.
shush, Vinny, talk.
Sorry. Yeah, I was getting ready to make that quick introduction to Vinny, but I'll let him.
Yeah.
Well, look, hey, thank you for having me. And so I'm Vinny Smith, and I'm a co-owner of Contender Esports in Cary, North Carolina. And our niche there, what we say is that we're building character and life skills development through productive video gaming. And so, in essence, what we're doing there is that, a lot of things in the areas where parents are, parts that they don't like about video gaming, the children lock themselves in a room, hours on end, isolate themselves. So we remove that by, hey, the child comes to our space, they can socialize. We deal with issues like with rage and toxicity, which are exist in all sports, and we work with the young people with that to remove those issues. We make sure that they take breaks. At least every 45 minutes, we teach them stretches to make sure that they're to prevent carpal tunnel and things like that, because they're going to be playing for years and years and years. With esports getting big, they're going to be able to play collegially, professionally. We want to make sure that they're able to play for a long period of time. So like I said, we make sure that they stay hydrated, drinking water, and we teach a life skill lesson with every single time, whether we're doing a workshop or whether it's a team, whatever the case may be. So that's basically kind of what we do there, and how Mark and I basically got hooked up is I started a parent meetup group. And that's how we got hooked up with one another.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Tell us a little bit about that meetup group, because like I said, I was fascinated when I saw it. I told Jacoby about it because I don't even know how many members there are, but there definitely seems like something that's quite needed in this area, and there are probably those around the area, even in other places like Ohio and New York and other places. So how did you create the group, and how many members are there, and what are some of the problems you've run into with parents?
So we have, right now we currently have 33 members. I started it, I think, right at the, I believe it was the beginning of January, maybe it could have been in this December timeframe. And so it was just a way to really help wanted to kind of bring parents together, share ideas. What are some of the challenges? We hear parents some of the challenges that we hear are that, as I mentioned earlier, how the children isolate themselves, and like the rage, the toxicity. And so in our program, because when we hear the issues that parents have, we incorporate strategies in order to help with those things. So those are some of the things that what the parents talk about. And one of the comments that we often get from parents is that they say, I tell my child something 100 times and they don't listen. You all tell them one time and they listen. And it's just, it's with anything, like a teacher in school or a coach with any sport. It's just that, different role model other than the parent. So it's not like we don't really do a whole lot that's really, really special, but we bring them into the young people into an environment that they love, and we just teach all these skills. And the thing is, the young people, they don't know that they're learning. All they know is that they're having fun, which is great. It's fine. But the parents know that they're learning, and then that's the part that the parents really like. So we're just really partners with the parents, and so and just providing that avenue. And one of the things which within gaming, which I'm sure you're familiar with, when you look at gamers that end up when they participate in a like on a team or something like that, 82% of gamers have never participated in an extracurricular activity before. And so this is important because when we talk about building social skills and all of those things, we're affording an opportunity for, the gamer who may be more sheltered and more introverted or what have you. And one of the other things that we have the parents say, they're like, wait a second, is that my child? Because when they see them interacting with all the other, their team members, or if they're doing a workshop, but just within that group, they get really excited about it. And we just are providing a venue and just a pathway for them to take part in something that they're excited about. And like I said, and the parents, they really love it.
I love that you are that liaison for it, because in my world, I talk a lot about just, and it's beyond just eat this, eat that, don't eat that, whatever, right? Like we as humans are programmed to look out for what's going to hurt us or kill us, and then what's also enjoyable, right? And so what hurts us or whatever, the going back to when you were like, oh yeah, the parents are saying, oh yeah, I'm telling my kid 100 times. Well, the kid is just trying to survive being nagged. and so then you come along and it's enjoyable and they're like, oh yeah, this is good, and they're going to gravitate towards it. And we all go into that like rut, right? I mean, maybe like parents do, right? And so it's all about trying to figure out what is enjoyable for the child, what really inspires them. Not everything in life is going to be inspiring, but what is like survivable, what's good, what's enjoyable, and really leaning into that. And I love that you are that, and the group is like that, and you provide that outlet, because then it does show parents like there is a different side to your kid, and we all have these different sides, and you're just like an environment to thrive, and that is super inspiring. So kudos to you.
Well, thanks. And just one other thing that I just wanted to mention it because this would be helpful to parents. Because one of the things that we do when we talk about removing the rage issues and things like that, the rage comes because it's something in a game that they're playing that something went wrong. And so what we do is, our coaches, our training, all we do, we take a knee, kind of get down right on their level where they are, and we ask them, what happened? What happened in the game? And they talk about the game and explain, and we just kind of ask them questions. Well, what do you think you could have done? And certain things like that. And then if it's a certain skill technique, then the coach can teach that. And but what we're doing is, part of within our program, we talk about creative thinking, in sportsmanship, teamwork. But when we talk about creative thinking, being solution oriented, that's what we're actually teaching them. So now what they're doing is when something happens again, they're learning to think through it, come up with really not sure what to do here. So let me ask the coach who can help me and show me, and that removes that rage because now, like I said, they're working through it themselves, and then they have someone also they can go to help them with it. And so it's little tips like that that we have that we've learned over time that we implement. And so it's a lot of fun, watching the young people develop.
Yeah, sounds like it's a lot of fun and everything. Definitely, and this is actually for everybody. I was actually reading an article earlier today, and Jacoby's definitely liked when I was finding some of these great articles last week and everything. But this one actually came out of Wired, and it was actually asking the question of why is it so hard to be evil in video games. So the basic of the article is sometimes there are too many choices, and most of the time, good versus evil isn't very clear cut. So, and one of the pieces of the article was the person that wrote the article said that they love the idea of choosing the path in the game, and moral dilemmas make virtual worlds more interesting. Sometimes they change the outcome and give you a reason to play the game all over again. But as much as they like the idea, they often struggle to take the evil route because they'll replay a game with the intention of being bad, yet they find themselves being the good Samaritan. So I was wondering, Jacoby, do you ever have that issue that this person with Wired article is talking about, and is that something that you even deal with? Because a lot of times I would think that that's something that even as parents, and both you, Vinny, and you, Jacoby, are parents, that that's something that you want to kind of like, give the more better way of doing things. But sometimes the characters aren't all that nice, and you might want to go the evil route. So I'm just wondering how you handle that.
From my standpoint, I mean, I completely agree. It's no fun being the bad guy. It really isn't. I mean, yes, there are times when I keep referencing Grand Theft Auto. Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead Redemption are two games where you have so much freedom throughout the game to do what you want. And you can be as bad as you want to be. You can go and just destroy cities and or the individuals in cities. But that gets boring and it's repetitive and it's just not as exciting. It doesn't seem to progress the story. As an analogy, if you think about it, if there is take a box, a cardboard box, okay, you place that on a driveway and you burn it.
Mm-hmm.
You can only do that one time, and there's nothing that comes from it but ash. But if you place that same box, now place a plant on top of that box. Now place another cardboard box beside it. Now place another maybe a cardboard siding on that other side. Now you're building a fort. Now you're building something. Now you can use your imagination and create more things. So you can actually, in terms of that balancing act between creation and destruction, you can create more than you can destroy. And that goes on in a video game, and that moral dilemma that they'll put you in is that you can see more of the game if you actually begin doing stuff. And it's subconscious while you're playing the game, because you're like, okay, with my buddies, I'm going to troll somebody, but that's boring. That's no fun. For example, I was playing Rocket League the other day, and there was a guy who jumped on the team who did what's called smurfing, or basically he's trying to cause everybody to lose a level, or cause the team that he's on to lose. That makes the other teammates leave. They don't stay in, hey, let's all lose. What's the point of it? There's no challenge to it. It's easy. So I mean, that moral dilemma in video games, it really is. It's neat to see.
Yeah, I'd love to hear Vinny's thoughts about this. And before I get to that, I was going to add some other context to that, because apparently a Baylor University study researched how people approached moral choices in video games, and it focused on the three scenarios. It said it focused on the infamous no Russian mission from Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, where you're part of a terrorist group and can choose to slaughter innocent civilians at an airport, kill only guards, or choose not to shoot at all. The Power of the Atom mission from Fallout 3, where you can defuse the bomb for a small reward or detonate it and destroy the town for a big payout, and the free labor mission from Fallout 3 where you can kidnap or spare a baby. So the results says that just as many people opted for the evil path as for the good, according to Daniel Schaefer, who's an associate professor over there at Baylor. He said that roughly 49% of people who chose the good path were morally activated, meaning that they felt empathy for the non-playable characters and felt guilty at the prospect of doing evil, or were trusting their instincts about what felt right. So, Vinny, what is your thoughts about this study? And have you run across those dilemmas even when you're talking to your parents and talking within your meetup group?
Well, now, and this is a very interesting topic, and this is one actually that this topic has not come up as far as the whole moral dilemma part. So it is very interesting to get Jacoby's perspective and what you said about the study from Baylor, because that is something that we have not come in contact with within the kind of like the games in which we offer within our workshops and things like that. We haven't come in contact with that.
Well,
I mean, like I said, for me as a player, and even in the competitions that that I'll run, the players that troll other players really, like Fortnite. And Vinny, I'm sure that you have come across this when people talk about griefing other players. Griefing other players, you're trolling other players, or basically you're landing in the same spot that another player's landing in, and you're always trying to kill that one player. You begin to get a bad name within the community when that happens. One of the moral dilemmas. Oh yeah, in terms of the moral dilemmas and feeling empathy for the characters, that's all based on how well the story is written also. Because
and that's actually one of the things that Schaefer said. Is he said that it was those folks that did it and made the one choice that people may consider evil. When they were asked why they did it, they said it was just a game, or so the act had no real moral weight. And other common justifications include the idea of only following orders, adhering to the game rules, and doing what's necessary to survive or complete the mission, because there is a mission within the game.
So there are games that really push that moral dilemma. And I showed you guys the one, Detroit, and Detroit gives you that true moral dilemma. For example, you're placed with a father who is a deadbeat dad, an alcoholic, and is actually verbally abusive, and it looks like he's also physically abusive to his daughter. And you are a robot, and you have to choose: do you act or do you not act? And when you go through those choices and finish that level, it shows, a high percentage of people all acted in some form or fashion. There was a very small percentage that did not react, but a very high percentage either took it over where they killed the father or just ran away with the child. And then you get to that's one of those games that really pushes those moral dilemmas. There was another one we talked about where you were in a war and you have to survive. And it's not about going out and killing people, but it's about trying to keep your family hidden. And you can attack the different soldiers that are out there, or you can try and sneak around and steal food and move your family from place to place to avoid being caught. Because if you go and attack them, they may chase you back to your home. So it's all in how the game is written and how the game is set up. But for the most part, gamers are always going to lean on the moral high ground because, they'll get caught up in the storyline.
Well, and it sounds like even when you do choose the less, I guess, the morally corrupt route, the more morally corrupt route, there are always consequences. So there's consequences built into the game. Like life, if you decide to, you were saying put a box out in the middle of your driveway and then light it on fire, there's going to be consequences, unless you live in out in the middle of the country or something, maybe not, like maybe that's just normal life, but like, I don't know. So
that's just little Johnny out there burning boxes.
Calling out you neighbors, former neighbors, just kidding. But like there's always different moral implications. So it's good that despite these boundaries being pushed and stretched in the video games, that they're still somehow representative of the consequences of life. So even when the younger people are kind of doing all this, like they're still seeing the like consequences and fallback from it. So that's good, just to be like, okay, this is a safe place to do stupid crap. However, there are consequences. So that's good to know that there's consequences, instead of, because we talked about it before, where sometimes, there have been instances where people think, oh, I can do this in video game life. Can I do this in real life? So it's good to have those, yeah, you can do that, but there are consequences. So that's also important, because it's like it exercises just not, even if the person doesn't think morally, they think like consequences. And like I have to have a certain amount of not empathy, but just connection with other people, or else those are consequences. So
like in Grand Theft Auto, for example, Grand Theft Auto, if you there are police. If you go and steal something and the police see you, they will chase you. If you aren't arrested, they continue to chase you. If you do more crime as you're running away, they'll chase even more. You can get to a point where it starts out, it goes from 1 to 5 stars in terms of the amount of pressure the actual police will send after you if you do something wrong. If you're at 1 star, they're maybe chasing you around in maybe 1 or 2 cars, and you have to dodge the cars. If it's at 2 stars, they start sending out more. At 3, you've got helicopters and tanks coming at 4, and so you become really, it becomes a problem the more bad you do. There's a game, Peter Monalou was one of the better developers. He had a game called, he started off with a game with all these different God games, and God games basically are like simulations where you control everything, like SimCity to The Sims and stuff like that. You're basically God controlling these individuals. He had a game called Black and White where he had you were building areas, but you're trying to have these subcultures or these prehistoric individuals celebrating a god, and you would have these creatures, and they would battle, and they would protect or attack depending on how that village did or what that village did. So it was a fun game. But then he became really famous for a game called Fable. Fable is huge, and it was ahead of its time. The first one, he had promised all this extra stuff, but due to the technology and the what they could place in a game at that point in time, he wasn't able to do that, to do the things that he had set out. And that's happened in many games. But the thing about Fable, their consequence system was kind of cool, because RPGs or role-playing games were very known for the fact that you could go anywhere and open up a chest that was maybe in a villager's home, or open up a closet that is in some random home where the villagers walking around and you're opening up, finding stuff. That's a big thing for RPGs. Well, in Fable, he took that all out. You had to sneak into somebody's home, or they would find you and chase after you and get you in jail or get you attacked by the village. If you opened a closet and somebody saw you opening a closet that wasn't yours, you would get in trouble. So just little bitty things and the consequences like that are in some games. And like I said,
Yeah,
Fable was one of the big ones for it, which was a whole lot of fun.
it sounds like
Although
it.
you could get married in multiple towns.
Well, hey, Vinny,
So
just out of
polygamy
curiosity,
is okay in video games. Good to know this.
yeah, definitely okay in video games as opposed to real life. But Vinny, just out of curiosity, what are some of the lessons that you feel that you've learned from video games that have helped you with parenting, but also helped you in your 9 to 5 job? And you might even want to tell folks what the 9 to 5 job is. But what are some of those lessons that you have learned that you're able to bring from one force into the other force?
Well, I tell you, from video games, I remember when I was younger and playing on the Atari, and then I kind of went in. They got me a Commodore 64. And I started playing games on that. Well, what developed from that was just kind of like I love video games. And I said I want to learn how do they make these games? What do they do? So then I started getting books and started reading and reading about programming. And then, then that was, kind of, I think those were the years when I was around maybe like 10 to 13. And when I started really getting into it, well, then when I went to college, I ended up majoring in computer science. And it all started from video games. And really, if it wasn't for video games, I'm pretty sure that I would not have majored in computer science. I share this with a lot of parents as far as that background to get them to understand that, especially with where esports is going right now. And I'm not talking about being a professional player or anything like that, but there is opportunity for them to play in college. But what it offers, there's so many different pathways right now, like because they can be coders and they can be the video game designers and some of the things in which we teach in our program, we show them is that there's even just to make a game, it's teamwork. One person's not sitting down developing a game. There's so much that goes into it, and so it's just a great. Video games can be like once again, if it's productive and taught the right way, it can be just a great experience from a teamwork, social aspect. Learning about success and failure, how do you succeed, do well in a game, how do you win properly, how do you lose properly, all these things are really good, something that I've learned and I see that being instilled, in the young people that are in our program right now. So this is what I see, this is what what the parents are seeing, these are things in which we talk about. Parents right now, they don't realize all of the opportunities that exist just currently right now, and then what's coming. We deal, our kind of age group is from 6 to 18 years old, but right now we're really in the infant stages here in the United States when it comes to with video games. Locally, here where we are, I know North Carolina Central is starting a degree program this year. And an esports degree program, I should say. So, it's coming. We're seeing colleges starting to offer esports majors. And then when you talk about it from a standpoint of just the industry itself, when young people, they like playing video games and kind of gets them interested, maybe they don't even want to be a video game designer or coder, but maybe they like accounting. But they like video games, and maybe they want to go become an accountant who works for Epic Games, or they want to be a lawyer, but they love video games, and they could be an attorney that works with one of the companies. So we're exposing it and showing parents there's a world out there. Esports is not slowing down. It's the fastest growing sport. It's one of the fastest growing industries, and there's so much that their children can be a part of with this. And it kind of starts off right just from playing video games, doing something that they enjoy, and like I said, and we expose them within our programs to other different areas, and we find out what their interests are. What do you like? What do you like doing? And we those things that we talk to them about, and we explain to them, hey, you could do this within esports. Oh, yeah, you like to say, oh, you like, you like math, you like whatever, and we just kind of, give them ideas, just kind of just enough to pique their interest, and it gets them even more excited about what they're doing, about the esports, and about playing the games. And one of the things that we see with the parents are utilizing, it's funny when I say utilizing us for, is that they utilize kind of coming to our gaming center almost as a reward. So they're able to limit the amount of video games that their child plays at home. Says, look, you do your homework, you do be able to come, go to Contender Esports, for the workshops, whatever. And they're using that, like I said, as a reward system, and they're seeing that it's actually, working well for them, and so they're able to accomplish a lot of things. They're limiting kind of maybe unproductive play, sort of maybe at home, bringing it to a more productive environment, but also then getting their child to use as an incentive to do the things that they're trying to get them to do. So there's really a lot, there's a lot of benefits to video games, and like I said, and working with someone like us with our gaming center, because we understand, well, especially they understand kind of the challenges that parents have, kind of going through all of these, all the steps and all through the different age levels. And so, from that's kind of how we develop the curriculum and our approach to everything.
On that same line, somebody actually asked a question. How can educating people on proper video game etiquette when attending LAN events become a thing? General CVS has asked that question.
So General CVS asked that question.
Yes.
That's my son, Caleb.
Well, since everybody's laughing about this, and I know that there's some connection between your son and Jacoby, I'd love for you to share a little bit about the connection that they have as well. So, Vinny, share a little bit about that connection as well.
Well, he needs to answer his son's question too.
Yeah, we got to go with
But I'm so sorry. I do have to bounce out. It's so good meeting you, Benny. And Mark, let Benny answer his questions.
Okay. So
bye, guys.
See you.
Okay. So Caleb's question in particular was, he said, how does
basically how can educating people on proper video game etiquette when attending LAN events become a thing? So, how I'm interpreting the question as, learning how to attend events. How can we make that, because that proper etiquette can carry over to everything you were talking about.
Right.
How can that become something that is as second nature, or something that is, people aspire to learn?
Well, I think with anything, it's certain things. One becomes habit forming over time, right? And it's just introducing it, because one of the things is we don't. It's not that we don't tell the children do this and don't do that. Like when I was talking about the rage, we don't say don't rage, don't yell, don't slam it down. Because if we kneel down, we talk to them, we ask questions, we get them thinking about what it is that they're doing and what the solutions are. So, like I said, we don't, the word, we don't say the word, utilize the word don't. So it's all about, if we want, that young people to have the proper etiquette, it's kind of like, intuitively, everyone, the young people, they know what the right things to do are, right?
Mhm.
And sometimes what they may challenge and push the push the the envelope a little bit. And so really kind of what it is that we do is we create this space, and and when they come for within the land events, um, we we have it's an atmosphere basically in which they come into, that the atmosphere in itself is it's a family friendly, it's a that type of atmosphere, and it's engaging in that whole aspect. And I think that helps remove some of the already kind of breaks down those issues and what have you. So when people come into that type of environment, if you created the what it is that in which they see. I think about years ago. I remember the Miami Hurricanes football team,
Mhm.
right? And they were the bad boys, right? Well,
Mhm.
when you went to Miami, to the University of Miami, it was were you knew what to expect when you got there. You saw it, you heard about it. So when you came there, you just came into that environment, and
Right.
that's kind of how you acted, and that's how you played, and that's how you responded. And same thing happens here. Is when the reputation is there, and people know what you're about, and that there is a certain etiquette. We do things a certain way. We treat people a certain way. When they come into that environment, they kind of they gravitate to that, or they really they take hold of it. And I think it's that more than anything else, is that when they come there, um, it kind of like that expectation
Mhm.
of how they're supposed to act and what they're supposed to do is already there.
And
Yeah.
I guess to say a little bit on this issue, because this is one of the big reasons why, the Gamers Den is here, is trying to break down those barriers and push through that toxicity that is there. And um, that etiquette is, yeah, I mean, we know that there is a toxic side to, for example, we'll say the Smash community. There is but actually, I won't even pigeonhole it to the Smash community because it's across esports. There's a dark side to it. How can we shine a light in that dark side to add representation for more women in esports? Because there are some dominant players, and I would love to have them come on this show. I would love to showcase them at different tournaments. But the problem is, we run into that toxic masculinity that creates that whole misogynistic environment. How do we poke through that? Same thing with, as you see, we're three black men sitting on a radio show talking about games. We're a very, very minor percentage in the whole esports world. How can we break through and add in more African Americans, to more Hispanic individuals, to more minorities just in that esports arena,
Right.
to break through that toxicity that lies there? So, what ideas do you think that we could utilize? Since I guess it's still on the same etiquette idea, but
Right.
what do you think that we could use to break through that toxicity that is there?
Right. Well, one of the things is from the toxicity that exists. And remember, again, esports and kind of and what we're doing here in the U.S. It's really it's very new. And I start by saying that is because if you look at all sports, there's some level of toxicity that is in play. And so it really becomes it, what is acceptable. And I think that in esports, it's seen as a little bit more acceptable because of there there really hasn't been like say leadership in the community. Whereas if you think about youth sports, right? And you have youth sports, and they're teaching certain types of values within those sports, whether it's baseball, basketball, football, and you have the AUs and different things like that. But with the esports, we don't have that yet, and that's one of the things that, like I said, that we're working on that youth development piece. So I believe that when you're going to see the toxicity and those types of things go away, and start to subside, is when you have young people coming in and through a program, like I said, and then they're being taught, just like all the other youth sports programs. I think that's when you're going to really see some of those things, subside. Now, when you talk about some of the other groups, like having females in within esports, we're going to see it, and it's coming. That's one of the areas that we've been looking at too. Like you said, how do we get more females? How do we get more African Americans? How do we get more Hispanics? How do we open ourselves up to show that we are inclusive, right? And I think right now it's not a matter of that esports. I think that we're just at a stage, since we're still in this, and we just have to continue the message, continue to be inviting, and then over time we're going to build it up. So I don't think it's something that's going to just really just happen overnight. I do think that it will take probably within like some females really to come in and really be advocates for it. Some African Americans, Hispanics, really to be advocates, for it, and they're kind of within their groups and their circles and their community, and say, hey, let's go, let's go to this tournament. Let's go and do this today. Let's go to the games together. Let's go, and so that we're going to be active, within the community, within the esports community. I think that's kind of how it's going to really, really pick up and take hold.
Do you think as and this is one thing that, for example, at the LAN tournament that I did, Mark, just to give you a heads up, because I know you're not in the gaming world, but a LAN tournament is basically where you gather a lot of, it's basically an in-person event where a lot of individuals come to play games. Okay. Basically, Contender has a LAN setup where people can go and play games at their facility utilizing their computers. So in a sense, it is a LAN setup. LAN stands for local area network. But it is a LAN setup where you have a bunch of computers in the area, and you can come and play on those computers on that network, and everybody plays face to face. Think of it as an old school people going over to somebody's house to play Tecmo Bowl on the Nintendo in front of one TV. That's similar to what a LAN is, or very.
So Bull City Gaming would be a LAN place then.
Yeah. Like your when you go to Vegas and go to play the slots with everybody, you're going to a LAN area. You're going into a local area network to play on the slot machines with everybody else that's there. That's another crude example, but it's just everybody in one area.
So to use the Durham example, Bull City Gaming would be a LAN facility then as well, or not?
So Bull City Gaming,
not Bull City Gaming. I'm sorry, the gaming center that's over there by Motorco, because Bull City Gaming is you, but the gaming center is over there. The gaming
center by Motorco is like a game room.
Right.
It can be considered, for all intents and purposes, and on the technicality, yes, you can say that's a LAN center that serves beer. But getting back to what I was talking about with the girls being, or the women being involved in esports, like we were just having a conversation about, as event organizers, one of the things that I did was try to have a Girls Got Game panel. Basically, I took some very big-time women in not only esports, but in other areas, in technology and some other fields, because I think just as with guys seeing, other areas like the people being connected with law, people being connected with artists and programming. I thought it was a great thing to see a lot of women that were involved in not only developing video games, doing other tangential things around video games and in the technical market. Do you think, as uh, event organizers, Vinny, do you think that that is something that should happen more often to help be at to help for us to be advocates to help those trying to build that market?
Oh, absolutely. I think that's a fantastic idea, and yeah, I really believe that's one of the things that we can do is really reach out to those within the community and really I think maybe when they when the other these communities know that there's support there, that there's others are thinking about this as an initiative and want to kind of bring it forward, and not that so that they're not having to go at it alone, but that someone's willing to work with them, and in that effort, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely sounds like something that's definitely needed and everything. Both of y'all will be glad to know it was actually something else I was going to bring up within the context, and it actually was something I was thinking about when Kara was on here earlier, which is about health and video games. Because one of the other articles that just came out yesterday was talking about how time speeds up in flow states when playing video games. So they were saying that flow states in video games might reduce symptoms of depression and anxiety. So they were actually saying that in a lot of ways, when folks are playing video games, it's creating that optimal mental state characterized by deep absorption during these challenging tasks. And they were actually using the example of other things other than video games where flow state is very important, including chess and basketball and dancers and climbers and even assembly line workers. So I would love to hear from both of y'all about the importance of the health aspect of video games, because this article just came out in Psychology Today yesterday. So it was actually an article that was printed yesterday talking about flow state and how that's oftentimes helping people, and video games are seen as a great tool. They were actually saying that flow happens at a point of equilibrium between frustration and boredom. So definitely I can see where video games would be a good tool in terms of creating a better state of mental health.
You first, Vinny.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. There, to your point, I know that's one of the things that we talk about. We tell parents that there are 5 benefits for the children playing video games, and one of them is as far as that they'll be more relaxed and have less anxiety. And within the 5 topics that we have, there's actually a study behind it to support that. And so, but yes, it is. It's an outlet. It can be a good outlet. And here's the thing: it's like anything else. No matter what you do, if you do too much of it, it can be a negative. And so, it's having a proper balance. And so, playing video games it is great for stress release. It's great for hand-eye coordination. It's great for critical thinking. It improves brain function. There's so many positives that there are to video games, as long as it's done, like I said, in the right environment. So definitely, like I said, from what we've seen from studies, and as well as what we've seen in the gaming center, I totally agree with that.
Same here. I mean, one of the biggest examples, I guess, and you don't even have to look at a study. One of the biggest crazes that happened during the pandemic, which kept us all inside, was the video game Among Us. Mm-hmm. Among Us is just a social gathering of individuals. You hang out with your friends. You're able to talk. You can joke about, oh, well, that person's sus. I don't know about, and it just became a big joke, and it brought a bond and some sanity to a lot of individuals that were just shut in. They had nobody to talk to. And honestly, a lot of the gamers, um, I mean, that's what they've experienced from playing Fortnite to Call of Duty to Apex to Rocket League to you name it, because they're talking with their friends. It's more social than what people really realize. And I'm not sure, Vinny, if it's some of the parents within in your group that are learning about games. I don't know if you've run across it, but some of the parents that I've had to deal with these LAN events, they didn't know how social it was. There were some parents that were just in traditional sports that came into, well, they worked in the different companies that came out to a few of the LAN events that I had. One of them was shocked. One of them told me, uh, plain as day, said, I did not expect these guys to be in shape. I'm like, really? You have fallen for that stereotype?
Right.
But that's what's built in a lot of individuals' minds, is that there's a stigma that kids are fat, kids are lazy, they're just playing video games. And again, it's just kids. No, there are a ton of adults playing these games.
Yeah, Vinny,
Well,
that
it's very
actually
interesting that you mentioned that, because also one of the things that we do is once a month we have a parent-child tournament,
Mhm.
and it's a way for that is the biggest part of it is that so parents can come and more like a bonding with their child.
Mhm.
But in it, and so parents love it for that, and then also, but then it, to your point, the parents then see kind of like more of, oh, because parents are really removed. They know that their child goes and they go and they play these games, but not even sure what is it that they do. So the parents are learning the game, and they say, oh, and they start to see, oh, there's, oh, you have to, there's a strategy here. There's, there's, like I said, the hand-eye coordination. There's, now that there's communication on the same team. So they're starting to see all these other aspects of it, and it starts to give the parents more appreciation of it, and the parents like it. They really like it to have that time to bond with the child, and then the children think it's fantastic. Oh wow, I've been trying to get my mom or dad to play to play with me forever, and now they are. So yeah, that's
Hey, Vinny, that actually raises an interesting question. How many of the parents that you have, and I know it's just a small sample, but how many of them that you have are actually past video gamers themselves? Because I know that my brother is involved in video games and has played video games since he was a youngster, ever since he was, as far as I know, definitely since his teen years, if not before that. And now I have no kids, but I have my two nephews, and both of the nephews are into video games. So I'm pretty sure that it was passed down from one generation to the next. And it sounds like you and your son are both video game people as well. So how much of the audience that you have are actual people that it's both generations are into it, and how many of it are maybe the parents are not so much into it and the kids are totally into it?
I would say, well, so there's a couple of parts. And one the reason why I say that is because um, a lot of the parents were like me from the standpoint, like I said, we're growing up, we playing Atari, grew up
Right.
playing certain games. So now what has happened when you go to the games that exist today, the parents don't really kind of relate to these games, so they don't play currently now. I think that's a good percentage of our parent population. We do have some parents that are up to date with some of the current games, the Fortnite, the Overwatch, Rocket League, League of Legends, what have you, and they do play those games as well. That is a very minority percentage of and the most parents, the reason why they say that they don't play, it's just say it's the games say the more fast, it's so fast paced, and it's just that whole hand eye coordination and different things like that. You see that. I mean, the kids, they have it, and the parents are like, oh my, oh my goodness, and so it's just. But I would say that most of the parents that come in, and I would say it has been 90%, have played video games in the past.
Mhm.
But then again, the majority of them, probably 70%, haven't played, these current games that are out right now.
My curiosity with those that have played but haven't played now is I think they would be able to play. Well, I think that they would enjoy a lot of the games that they don't know about
Yeah,
because I don't think that they'd enjoy Fortnite, but put them on a game similar to, uh, something they grew up with. If they were big into Legend of Zelda, oh, I bet you they'd love Legend of Zelda now or Genshin Impact. It would be fun for them. Same
right,
thing with, Tecmo Bowl. Well, there's the old school. I think it's pixel football on the phone that you would play. I think that's the name of it. It's on. It popped up on my app store, but it was Tecmo Bowl. So I think there's some games that I think if parents were to just open that door just a little bit and say,
right.
okay, I'm curious to see. Even some of the VR games, some of the VR games are really cool.
Yeah,
Um,
Yeah, definitely. I can see where some of the VR games are cool. Like I said, I think my brother was into like the war games and things of that nature. I know that he's big into like Call of Duty, or at least historically he was, and kind of those kind of games. And I know that there are newer versions of what he played as well as the more modern versions of what's going on in those kind of categories and all of that. So definitely. Vinny, what are some of the misconceptions that you found from your parents that have actually surprised you? We've talked about some, but I was just wondering some that you've run across that you've had to counter, and what were some of those, and how did you counter them?
well, basically, I mean, the biggest thing is that when parents come in, they think that video games is a waste of time, and they think it's a waste of time because there's no future for my child within video games, and that's what they think on any level. And so it's helping them and educating them and expose them when they find out everything that exists. When they find out, well, look, your child, what they like playing, and if they're really good, they can get a scholarship to play in college. They don't realize that college is like Barton College, but in Wilson that they're offering esports scholarships. They don't realize that Wake Tech has an esports program. So it's things like that where when you start to kind of peel back the onion, they start to see, oh wow, all of this exists, and you can tell them, look, your child, they can go and they can play professionally. They can start playing at 13. It's not like like football or basketball, baseball. As far as NCAA rules, they can still go on and play in college, if they choose to. And then when you explain to tell you like the 5 benefits that there are to video gaming, and they're really surprised. Like I said, they're backed up and they support with studies, and they're like, "Wow, what really?" And then when you also then start to talk about how the colleges are starting the esports degree programs and the esports majors, they can't believe it. Then the whole tune begins to change, and then all it is just a lack of education. And not saying that in a negative or put down way, but they just don't know. And so one of the things that we've said after we opened up and started, we said, oh my goodness, we're an education company. As far as we were doing it with the youth development with the young people, but we're an education company for parents because they just don't know all of what is available for their young person and what exists, and like I said, all of the different pathways that they can go within it. And that's just what we know right now. I mean, 5-10 years from now, who knows all of the different opportunities that are going to exist. Right now, we have Epic Games, and people are familiar with Epic Games because it's right here in Cary. How many more companies are we going to have that are going to be here? Professional teams. How many professional teams are going to be in the area at the time where people are coming out? They're coming out to those venues, and then people understand the whole economics. They understand, oh, people come out, they're They're buying tickets, they're buying popcorn, they're, drinks, whatever the case may be. And there's a big economic model around sports and hence also in esports. And so, like I say, it's showing parents that and then to realize, wow, there is something here that's productive, that if my child continues down this path, that there's something that they can make a career out of, that they can do, whether it's actually playing or outside of playing. So if they have a love for it, then let me get behind them and and support their passion.
Do you see anything that in terms of trends or things that you are just in your own life observing? I know that I was reading, and this was actually some time back, so Toby, I won't be able to tell you the exact article that this was in or everything when we go back and do a rehash and everything. But there was a conversation about like the PUBGs and the battle royales kind of dying down, and some people are saying that they may make a comeback. But a lot of folks were talking about that those games were dying down and that were definitely becoming a thing of the past. So would you agree with folks that are saying that? And are there any other trends that you and your parents are seeing? And Jacoby, do you have any thoughts about that?
So he's shaking his head no, that he doesn't see those dying down, and I wouldn't say that they're dying down either. Sometimes as new games come on board, people get excited about those, and you just maybe start to hear about those a little bit more, maybe than some of the other ones. But that doesn't mean that community has died down or that the interest level still isn't there. I think what's happening is esports is there's so much attention and there's more excitement coming into esports, and so and people they're trying out different. Our group and our young people, they come in and they know they want to play one specific game, but one of the things that we do is just like within youth sports. With our children, when they were younger, we put them in. They play basketball and t-ball, baseball, and soccer and everything else, and they figure out what they like to do. Well, we do the same thing. It's like, okay, you come in, you think you like this, and that's great. Go ahead and play it, and we expose them to other things, and they really find out they like another game, and so, but it doesn't take away from the kind of the games that have that have been there through the years, and then they're kind of because you may just not hear about it as much because we have some of the newer games coming along.
Yeah.
But those games, they're still being played, and the communities are still real strong.
So yeah, there's you have to understand esports is a small sliver of 170 plus juggernaut industry. The video game industry is past. I mean, in comparison to the music and movie industry, if you combine those two and add some more money on top, then you have the video game industry. You're looking at 172 plus $1 billion industry. A part of that industry is esports. In esports, they set some trend. The battle royale is not dying by far. There's actually a new game that everybody's going crazy about. I got to beta test it because they did the beta test through Steam. It's Naraka Blade Point. It's you are a samurai. It's a battle royale with I think 35 to 40 people, and it's of course team based, last man standing. That's battle royale. That's all it is. But you're going to have people from, say, for example, Fortnite. If Fortnite's losing its luster for some of the community that's in there, they'll shift over to another game. It may be another battle royale. It could jump over to Apex. They were saying that some people right now, because Overwatch came out and took the industry by storm and created its own niche in the world and created its own, esport within esports, just like all the other ones, another genre within esports. There are people that are waiting on the new content for Overwatch, but they're trying other games. Like they're going back to Counter-Strike Go, which has been around forever, but they've made another form of Counter-Strike Go. I forget the name of the game. It just Uh, Valorant. Valorant is similar to Counter Strike Go, but then you got Rainbow Six that's out there. Rainbow Six players waiting on new content will play another game, but it will be in a similar genre. And it's just a matter of them, that community being introduced, just like Vinny was saying, being introduced to another game, and they'll fall in love with a game that might be in that same battle royale genre or in a team based genre. One of the games that sparked that was battle royale that caught fire. I mean, it's disappeared in terms of the community size. Was Fall Guys. Fall Guys took off like wildfire. People wanted it. People were loving it. But because it never really got past its own one joke that it had, its one play, it just kind of fell off. So yeah, Battle Royale is not going anywhere. It's a new genre within esports. It's just other companies are now putting their take on it. Like Naraka Blade Point, people are going to love that game when they get the opportunity to play it, just because the battle mechanics, the actual controls, the idea behind it. It's less about a distance battle royale, because in Fortnite you can get taken out from 600 meters. Somebody, you build up this giant fort, you're avoiding everybody, but then somebody takes you out because they've got a sniper rifle and takes you out. Well, Blade Point's about close combat, so it's a different take on it. There's a Spellbreak. People are loving Spellbreak. Spellbreak is another form of battle royale, but it's using magic. So now you're using spells. And Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter is a genre, not really of esports, but a genre of video games. But you have tons of games that are now falling in that. It's basically when somebody sets a trend. PUBG set a trend. Fortnite ran with that trend and exploded. Now people are jumping on Fortnite's bandwagon or that battle royale trend, and Fortnite's trying to keep up with everybody by taking ideas from them. For example, Apex Legends, when you had respawn points. Well, now Fortnite has respawn points. Others just pull from that. Apex just did an open world form of Apex Legends. Well, Fortnite is now going open world in an area. So Battle Royale is not going anywhere. Just people are going to take different takes on it.
Gotcha. It's interesting. It seems like the video game industry is touching a lot of different people. Even NPR, because apparently NPR had a recent article where they were talking about some of their video games that they were recommending, and they had some articles that they were talking about just in terms of culture, and apparently the games that they came up with, and I know none of these games, but maybe the two of you do, but something called Point Hospital was being recommended, something called Phoenix Wright, Attorney, something called Paper Mario, the Origami King. I guess this might be around the original Mario, but with an origami twist, but I have no idea. Have y'all heard of any of those games?
Awesome. Paper Mario is awesome. Yoshi's World is awesome. Ace Wright Attorney at Law is a lot of fun. 2 Point Hospital is a take on Theme Hospital. Theme Hospital. It took two of the same developers, or two of the guys that developed Theme Hospital years back. Phenomenal games. They're great. And I think, Mark, I showed you Roller Coaster Tycoon. Mm-hmm. That's in a sense that God style simulation. That's what 2 Point Hospital is. It's a lot of fun. Oh, I love that game. That's a lot of fun. It's hilarious.
Jimmy, growing up, what were some of the games that were your go-to games, and what are some of your go-to games now? So if you were to recommend, like these apparently folk on NPR did their games and everything, what are some games that you would recommend from your past and some that you would recommend from your current?
Well, when growing up, I know I really liked, one of the big ones was I love playing Asteroids and Space Invaders, like Pac-Man, Miss Pac-Man. I think kind of those were some of the great games I just like to play. Now I play CS:GO. I've gotten into that, but I tell you, I like FIFA. I always like FIFA. I haven't played the current Madden, but Madden's been one I've played quite a bit through the years. So I think those are some of the ones. And Halo and Halo, Call of Duty. I get into those as well.
Vinny, we can play Madden. I'm not playing a kid Madden. I tried that before recently. I got destroyed. I used to be decent at Madden, but I'm not playing Madden. No.
No Madden for you. And that actually comes back to the question that I know I looped into another question, which we never got back to, and everything, which is the connection between Colin, your son, and Jacoby. So if you can share with our audience a little bit about that connection, I'm sure folks would love to know that as well.
Oh yes, with Caleb. So, and boy, Jacoby probably would tell you better, but I know that Jacoby and Caleb, and I don't know if they're actually working on having some collaboration right now. But as far as with Jacoby running some tournaments and doing some things, and doing them either, out of our land center, or where players can come to our land center and participate in tournaments in which he's running. So I know that they've been in communication and collaboration on those lines. But like I said, Jacoby might be able to fit in a little bit more on that.
And yeah, Vinny, Mark tries to butcher everybody's name. So yeah, when he
Yeah, but no, in that case, it was because of a past interview. I actually had an interview with somebody else that had a C name as well. So that was one of them cases of crisscrossing interviews. So I apologize to your son for that reason. I do butcher names like I do with Kara and Kara, but that was not an intentional one. That was because of having too many interviews that you do during the course of a week with various people. And it just happened that two of them had C names in there. So I apologize to both your son as well as to Colin, who is a business individual out of Shanghai, China, but originally from the States. So I apologize to both of them for mixing their names. But those things happen when you got these tons of interviews and all of that going on. So I do apologize to both of them. One of the things I was going to ask both of y'all is, well, actually, this is more for you, Vinny, is there room for more parents to get involved, and how often do these meetings take place? I know you talked about the parent kid kind of events that y'all do together, but how often do you meet, and where are the meetings held at? And like I said, I know we stumbled across each other because of the meetup connections and everything, but tell folks about how they can get involved with the organization. And I mean, can the organization grow to 1,000 people, or do you have a limit at some point where you're going to be like, nope, can't manage that many folks?
No, right now we don't see that there's going to be a limit on how many people that we can have kind of within the meetup, and we definitely would love for parents to come in. And what we were looking to do is, and one of the things that we always would take suggestions on, if parents have certain topics, like when we come, because what we say we always have open up for our discussion, because we want to talk about if parents have issues or challenges with their child or children around video games. And those are things that we want to discuss, because obviously other parents may have had the same scenario and offer, hey, solutions. This is what I've done. This is what I've done. And then what we do, like I said, at Contender Esports Cary, is that we offer that environment to really make it a productive experience, for order for parents to utilize. So we plan on continuing the meetup, and we hope that it continues to grow. We will, if there's other events and things that parents see, like we did it, like I said, we have that the parent tournament once a month. If as the community grows, and we may need to offer that more often, or have like some type of spin-off off of that, whatever, we'll do whatever that kind of what will help the community. And that's what the meetup was all about, was really kind of to help parents and to address concerns and issues and things like that. So we have and our meetup is once a month. We have a meetup which will be next Wednesday. It's at 7:00. It's right there at Contender Esports in Cary. And so we tell parents, you come to the meetup, bring your children. They go. Let them go, and they can play games while we have the meetup. And we're specifically, actually, the topic for our meeting next week is about removing rage and toxicity from video gaming. And so that's actually the topic that we're going to be talking about next week.
Well, that's a deep topic, and it's one that we've actually touched on here on the Gamers Den as well. I've mentioned sometimes before that sometimes, there are parents and there are parent figures. And like I said, I don't have any kids, but I am an uncle to my nephews, and of course, they're into Roadblock and some of the other kind of those type of games and everything. Is there the possibility for non-parents, traditional parents, meaning not the mother or the father, but say the uncles or the aunts or even the educators, because a lot of times teachers and community members can be parent figures to join the organization, or you're pretty much leaving it just strictly to the moms and dads of the video gamers?
Well, you know what? And anyone is welcome, and and I'm glad you brought that up because that may be something I need to that we can present and put out there so people know that it's not just limited to parents. It started from helping to address parents' concerns, but to your point, I mean, there's educators and different that we would love to have them join and be a part of our community from the standpoint that and I was just actually speaking with someone earlier today from with the Cary Chamber of Commerce, and we were talking about because we are running summer camps and we're doing STEM education, and so we're looking how can we work with other educators because we want to learn some things as much as we can as well, so that we can provide the young people the best experience possible. So we welcome anyone and everyone to come in and to be part of the community, to provide suggestions, to provide, as far as what can be put into the curriculum and things like that that will really enhance the programs to better for the betterment of the young people.
That makes a lot of sense. Jacoby, they've got this meeting next week that's going to deal with toxicity in video games and all of that kind of stuff that we've touched on here on this program and everything. So, what kind of thoughts or things would you think that they need to bring up in the discussion? Because, like I said, I know we've brought it up on the show a number of times. We've had Siren bring it up. We've definitely had Kara bring it up, and a number of others as well among our guests. So, who knows? Maybe they'll have to bring you in as a guest speaker as well. But if you could get to be the guest speaker right now with Vinny, so what are some of the points that you would love to see him bring up?
And I'm taking notes, so go fire away.
I mean, we've touched on it earlier. I mean, the big thing is the sexism that lies within there, where it's tough for women to get into gaming when the boys want to sit there and attack them for doing anything, especially winning. If they win, it's tough. The transgender community, transgender individuals are they're attacked repeatedly. Yet in video gaming and in the game in the dark side of the gaming world, if you're homosexual or part of that LGBTQ plus community, hey, you are attacked mercilessly because again the patriarchal or the testosterone driven individuals want to push out and dominate somebody rather than because toxicity, I think, comes from not understanding the line for some people. Some people don't want to be toxic, but they end up becoming toxic and don't realize it. And that's just understanding the line between what a joke is and what bullying is. And that's that line. There's no real gray area there. There's just that line. And as soon as you kick somebody out of the joke, then it becomes bullying. If the person that you're talking with isn't a part of the joke, like Mark, we joke all the time, but I'll never bully you because you know that you're part of the joke. You're part of the whole commentary and the fun, and you're able to do the same thing because it's a respect that's there.
Right.
I think trying to figure that out. Yeah, there's tons of topics that can fit into that whole toxicity discussion. But I guess the biggest one right now is dealing with women in gaming and how to get guys to get past it, rather than us trying to focus on, hey, girls, you need to well, let's change girls to women. Let's figure out how boys should talk or men should talk and learn how to respect. I think that's just just spitballing. That'd be something to really discuss in any discussion around toxicity, because I know there are a lot of doing one of the land events, as a matter of fact, in Cary, at the Cary um, at one of the Cary centers. One of the parents, or a set of parents, came in and they were discussing their daughter wanted to play Smash Brothers. Their daughter was the only girl that they knew of that was playing Smash Brothers. That's an issue. I mean, they don't know about the Smash Sisters. The Smash Sisters is a whole gaming community, a Smash women's gaming community. They didn't know about other women playing in the Smash in Smash tournaments, because oh no, they're always talking about guys. Well, there are a ton of great women playing. How do we? Yeah, it's just yeah. I think that's the biggest issue right now, is just overcoming that battle, the battle of the sexes, in a sense. Um, Getting
Is that
guys.
along the lines of what your people were thinking about, Vinny, in terms of the parents, or were they actually wanting to talk about some other issues within that toxicity? So when it came up as a topic, was that where y'all were going? And what are some of the other topics that y'all have discussed within the whole discussion points that y'all have had in these monthly meetings?
Well, so as far as the rage and toxicity, that part of it, uh, parents know that we address that within our program, and they have uh, praised us because of what we've done, and so therefore we want to, you know, to really to share with them kind of what we do and how we do it, um, and as a way, as well, like I said, to educate and hope that they can share it with others. Some of the other things that we've talked about is we've we've had topics such as just talking about the opportunities in college, um, the path of professional, just young people who are interested in playing professional. Just explain to them, hey, kind of this is kind of the pathway, because uh, parents are they don't want, like I said, they wasn't aware that they can do it, so they're not aware there's a pathway. So we help them to show them, if this is what your child's interested in, this is what it will take in order for them to get there. And so we're teaching them those types of things. Um, we talk to them about kind of what we're going to, some of the offerings that we're having from like a summer program standpoint, with the science, technology, engineering, math focus that we're having. Once again, helping to prepare their young person for that within school, if that's a career path that they might want to take, just exposure. So we talk to parents just like a wide variety of topics that we've had, over the past couple of months, and then it's also just and really also what it's really about is what interests you all, what questions do you have, and really outside of the parent meetup, really more conversation about different areas of esports comes when parents drop their child off for, say, for a workshop or what have you, that they drop the child off. So we have an instructor who's teaching that workshop, and then we have whoever is there, kind of working the front desk. Um, our front desk team members are always engaging the parents, kind of checking in with them, and then they're able to provide a lot of answer a lot of questions and things like that there as well. So it's not always just um, isolated to just that meetup time, but really there's so much engagement when the parents drop them off or they're coming to pick them up, and that's when we really engage a lot with these parents. And once again, we're talking about all these various topics that we have within our that we have within the meetup groups, but we're having them just they're kind of like on a one-on conversation.
We just had one of the viewers posted this during our discussion. It's a good long paragraph, so I'll try and read it. It says, "Yeah, it's really noticed when we were talking about women in esports. It says, yeah, it's really noticeable in the esports pro scene as well. Even Rocket League had only one woman that was really visible in the pro scene. Though we've been working on it, they've established a women's only league to try and build up the base of professional talent or away from toxicity. Curious if there's any integration with initiatives like that, or curious if integration with initiatives like that could be done all the way at the local community level."
And I think that's a great point, and it is something that we really are going to have to look into and address more. I know one of the things in fact, it was Caleb, I'm not sure who we spoke with, but it was at Meredith College. And so, in the Meredith College being a female college, and that was one of the areas where we feel that in working with them in some type of partnership, that's a way for us to kind of in this area to kind of work to break down, like you said, these types of the barriers in which exist and which we have. So more to come on that, but it's definitely something that we are thinking about and we acknowledge. And I think working with Meredith is really going to help us to kind of identify what we can do in this space and what's the best way to move forward with it. Because, to your point, I mean, from guys, gaming, what have you, we may have a certain perspective, but they've, developed that they have a whole school of females and they understand that area, and we think that they can really help us with the whole, how do we do this? How do we put this together? So I think it's going to be a great partnership that we're developing.
Yeah, it sounds like it. And this is actually coming back to something that it might even be in your next meeting and everything. But I know a lot of times when people think of toxicity, they think of the violent nature of some video games. So I'm thinking that's probably where some of your parents were going with the toxicity element. So Jacoby, this is your chance to give Benny some more notes. So how would you deal with that element of toxicity as well? Because I know that a lot of times that's what parents are thinking about is the violent nature of games, and we know that that's not all of what they're about, but that's sometimes what gets put in the news.
I was being distracted by a little bit, so I need the first part of the question again.
How you would address the toxicity element in the sense of violence in video games? Because I think that that's what some of the parents may be thinking about with Benny and everything. So how would you address that aspect of toxicity?
So my whole issue, there are games. To address the issue of violence in video games is a tough balance, because it's the mindset, are games a form of artwork? If they're a form of artwork, how are you going to touch a form of artwork? On top of that, there are lines that can be crossed. Violence without any purpose is just violence, and it's not really there. You can look at a game like Fortnite. Fortnite is violent, but it has such an educational piece to it that you could do so much with that educational piece in terms of city planning to architecture. There's so many things, teamwork, communication skills. There's so many things that you can look at a video game and look past that violence within a game like Fortnite. Some people aren't able to do the same thing with Rainbow Six. Yet Rainbow Six has those same elements that Fortnite does, with the communication, with the teamwork, with the planning, with the idea of what you have to do in that game. Even how we talked about Grand Theft Auto. Grand Theft Auto, there's a lot within Grand Theft Auto. Grand Theft Auto is more like a real life simulator than anything because of consequences. You have to get a job on the online area of Grand Theft Auto. You have to get a job. You have to make money to be able to do particular things. You have to pick up contracts. You have to be able to read. You have to be able to count. There's just so many things that you've got to be able to. We get into as a society that it has to be black or white. There are certain things that are black or white, and I expressed that earlier. But there, for the most part, in the gaming world, there's a lot of stuff that fiddles in that gray area. We're able to look at Game of Thrones and understand that Game of Thrones, the whole point of Game of Thrones or the Song of Fire and Ice is playing within that gray area. That's what a video game is that it plays within that gray area and you have to be able to understand the values behind it. Rocket League is a phenomenal game. It has no real, I mean, if somebody's afraid of car crashes, they're going to freak out over Rocket League because it's really, you're crashing into a ball. You're hitting other cars. But there's so much within it that you have to be able to explain. It's not really propagating or pushing out the idea that car crashes are good or that brakes are bad. It's talking about teamwork and strategy within playing the game. And that's the same notion that we have to take a look at. There is a game called Postal. Postal, I would never say is really, has a whole bunch of educational value to it. It's a game that I would never really recommend. One, it's a bad game, technically wise and gameplay and everything else. But two, it goes to that point that violence is just pointless. I mean, the whole violence within the game was just didn't make any sense. There was somebody who actually took Google Maps and actually made Google Maps into a shooting game simulator. That got banned really quick because, again, what was the point of the game? What was the point of the idea? There are different cultural things that go on, of course, globally, and there are games that are in Japan that do not make it across the river because, of course, or across the ocean because they get banned basically on cultural issues. They're the same thing going back the other way. There are portions of Call of Duty that get banned in places like Saudi Arabia. So, I mean, it's hard to say. For me, I would say anything that's just violent to be violent, that's not really helpful. That's not a positive influence or a positive look. Something that actually has an educational value to it, where the violence isn't the point of the game, but it's within the game. That's something different.
Yeah, definitely agree with you on that. What are your thoughts about games and the violent aspect of them sometimes, Benny? I'd love to hear your thoughts as well.
Yeah, I think that it really comes to kind of like what Jacoby was saying, that it's how whoever's playing the game, what do they see the purpose and the objective of the game, and I think it's all about in doing that. And it's if they're coming to it from the standpoint, oh look, like you said, I'm building, and I've got to do this. I'm thinking, and their strategy or whatever the case may be. Then I think that that is what makes it different. I mentioned earlier about Space Invaders and Asteroids earlier, which, I mean, it's those were kind of like, if you want to call it like a shooter type game, but I mean you were firing at something. So then maybe a little bit different than like some of the objects within Fortnite or what have you. But I think it's all in like I said, how the person approaches it, and like I said, that has a lot to do with how we as a gaming community also that we're presenting it and how we're talking about it. If we're talking about certain games and we're talking about all of the positive value that's within the game, I think that's what everyone's going to gravitate towards is all of the things that are positive. If it's only that we focus on one aspect, one thing within the game, and that can be seen as a negative. I think that that's the viewpoint that everyone's going to have, and that's what everyone's going to focus on. So I think it's more so of that. I know with the games that we have, I mean, and that we have workshops on and things like that. And some of them are shooter type games, and but how we teach it and go about it, and how everyone's working together, and like I said, it's all about the teamwork. It's all about the sportsmanship. So I think that I think that it's if you look at the positive characteristics and everything that can come out of the game, I think that's the biggest thing. And I'm taking it like this, looking at in just traditional sports. I mean, I know, like me, I played football in college, and I mean, football can be seen as a violent sport. I mean, it can be. And so, but am I playing football because I'm trying to hurt the other person on the other side? No. I'm playing as a team. We're playing, to be competitive, right? But we're playing with good sportsmanship. We're playing to demonstrate our skills and how hard we've worked in the off season and everything else to prepare ourselves. How we've eaten right. How we worked out physically. How we've supported one another as a team. How we've encouraged one another. How we have all these aspects. So when you get on the field, is it about violence? No. And so I think it's the same way as we look at it within esports in general and with these games. How is it that the community, how are we teaching, what's behind it, other than we can always just pick out one part of something and just and put that under the microscope.
And I think that another thing that it's that right now the video game industry, of course, still being a very young industry in comparison to music, in comparison to movies, because those two also went through the same argument in their infancy stages. It was that battle between the idea that video games are making people violent. Which honestly Nivix brought up. He posted this. The video games will make kids violent trope is ancient. Very true. It's frustrating since when I was a kid. And this talks about how something we had talked about earlier in the conversation. It's frustrating since when I was a kid, I'd go blow up crap in a game to vent off frustration. So I didn't take it out in the real world. So just as we were talking about earlier, Mark, it was one of your questions about how relieving stress, how video games relieve stress. And that's what this does. That's what video games are. They're a great stress relief for kids and all who play it, really, kids and adults.
Yep, definitely. It's definitely a great stress reliever. I know one of the other things we were going to talk about, and hopefully we'll get some of those folks on next week and everything, but I didn't know if you wanted to bring up the whole concept of Twitch and some of its monetization stuff just as a teaser right now, since we didn't get to that this time around. But I didn't know if you wanted to bring that up or if you wanted to bring that in next week, because I'm trying to get some of those Twitchers to come on board and join us here on the show.
So yeah, we can definitely do a little bit on that. Because, it'd be good to get Vinny's take on that. But just recently, there's a new trend that's going on Twitch, something that I will never do because I don't think anybody wants to see me sitting in a hot tub. I don't think they want to see you sitting in a hot tub, Mark. And you're a handsome devil and all, but I don't think they want to see you in your leopard print thong in a hot tub.
Don't
But-
have a leopard print, but no, they don't want to get a hot tub either.
But that is one of the new trends in on Twitch. And in the same vein, the reason I think it became a new trend is people. Somebody just said, "Hey, now you don't speak for all of us." So, Mark, you may have somebody. But I think that's one of the trends. So, for example, on Twitch, every Twitch streamer wants subscribers. Every YouTube viewer wants views. That's how you're able to support the stream. That's how you're supposed to support your video, your content creation, and so on and so forth. Everybody needs views, but it's gotten to a point where a lot of people are doing more clickbait,
Right.
by hot tub stuff. Okay, we're gonna do a subscriber run. Let's see if we can get 5 subscribers within the next 5 minutes. Okay, one, maybe the people watching don't have the money to do this right now.
Exactly.
Everybody's struggling. Pokimane, one of the big streamers, Pokimane. Vinny, I think you know who Pokimane is. She did a great interview and talked about how people are using those rush to subscribe, which again, I would love subscribers, but I'm not putting up a rush to subscribe sign because I don't know somebody's situation.
Right.
I don't make really anything, but it would be nice. Hey, look, if you can, you can, but if you can't, please don't. I want you guys to enjoy the video content. I want you guys to come and play a game with me. Come hang out on the stream, everything like that. But people are using that stuff to basically milk people out of money. And they become used car salesmen more so than they've actually focused on creating content and making it fun for their streamers or their viewers to come and hang out and provide commentary and talk about different things, or you can play a game. I will play Rocket League with anybody. I suck. But
and they've added a twist because now they've also added not just the regular monetary amount, and yes, you're right, some of the amounts are ridiculous and everything, but now I know that I was on a friend's Twitch and she was actually trying to get people to pay her in cryptocurrency. So they've also added the cryptocurrency element as well. So they're like, pay me in Bitcoins or pay me in whatever the current crypto is and everything. I just can't believe it. But what are your thoughts, Vinny? Because I'm sure you've been watching some of these Twitch channels too, and you've seen people that want to draw you into these subscription bases.
Oh, also, just to add in the Scripto, one of the guys who's one of the viewers talking. Hey, Siren jumped in. She can jump in on this conversation too. Hey, Siren.
Hey guys. Hey, sorry I'm late.
No problem.
But yeah, Vinny, Siren, what we're talking about right now is that article that I sent to you guys about how Pokimane was talking about how people are turning into used car salesmen to try and basically get people from the hot tubs to the Scripto points out the extremely long stream, doing 24 hours all the time just to get more people to view and just doing dumb stuff as used car salesmen to get more subscribers rather than
ironically, when Casino Gaming, we did a 24-hour stream, and there were all of these kind of templates of what to do. Hey, if you have somebody donate $5, then you run around like in a chicken suit, or all these stupid kind of gimmicks. We didn't do that. We are adults with children, so we basically played games and hung out with people for 24 hours. Nothing hardcore. And the amount of stuff that we got from people saying, "Thank you for not making this a 24-hour infomercial. Thank you for letting us actually get to know you on our schedules." That's what we wanted from this. It was huge, and I thought, this is really weird that this is the reaction. At least in my mind, I thought it was weird. But then I started looking, and now I know why that is the reaction, because you're 100% right. They just go out and it's a lot of just used car sales. We're selling ourselves nowadays is what it ends up being. As streamers, we're not even just selling our product or the game anymore.
Mhm.
Now we're selling ourselves, and that definitely turns it into some weird, like you were talking about, this weird gimmicky thing.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like a weird gimmicky thing. I definitely agree with you on that. By the way, Vinny meet Siren, Siren meet Vinny.
Hey, Sarah, how you
Siren
doing?
runs is involved with Cedo Gaming, like she said, and she can tell you more about it. Vinny is our new buddy from here in North Carolina and everything. I actually met him through Meetup, but he's actually running a whole parenting organization of parents that are into the whole video game industry and all of that. So he's got a bunch of
Yes.
parents that are connecting to the video games, and they've got kids that are video gamers, but then some of the parents are as well. But some of the parents aren't. But he's got this whole meetup group and everything. But that's my brief description.
Yeah.
He may want to give a better description.
Dude, I was super excited to meet you. I'm not going to lie, we were talking about it last week because it's something similar to what my company actually does. We actually work in the education and military systems, and we're trying to build a network of leagues with schools, colleges, and at military bases, kind of as a way to feed into actual careers in this. Because, like, the Air Force, at least that's my branch, the Air Force has their own gaming. They're giving people, jobs literally to game in the Air Force, just like we did for band and sports. We get people in doing that, and colleges are now using this as a legitimate recruit. I mean, what were we talking about a few weeks ago? There were almost twice as many applicants for Atlanta Phase as there was UCLA last year. Well, 2019. So I mean, kids are gravitating towards this, and if this is what we need to use to get them into coding, get them into arts,
Yes.
digital arts, get them into, then that's what, as a company, Cedo Gaming is attempting to do. Our idea is not that gaming is to sell you as a gamer. Our idea is gaming is more than this. You could actually build a life and a career, and it's actually legitimate. And bringing it to the parents, though, has been the hardest part, and realizing that a lot of them just need to understand that it's a different economy, but it's not a less valid economy. And it sounds to me like that's basically what you do. So I was super excited when I had heard about you coming on, because how did you even begin? Did you just one day decide with a group of friends that, hey, I'm going to talk to other friends? Or, I mean, how did this even come about?
Oh, well, actually, it came out. It really was all my son's idea. Okay. And so really, he's right out of high school, he went over and played professional soccer in Germany. But so coming up, he understood kind of the whole youth sports model and everything, that whole youth development. And so when he was over in Germany, that's when he found out about esports, got turned on to it, told me about it. And then he said, so when we started this business, he wanted to adopt that same youth development model and to turn in the eyes of in the eyes of parents, video gaming into really a productive experience.
Right.
And so that's kind of what we're doing. But what you're saying, the biggest piece for us right now is like you said, is educating the parents, because they're not familiar with all of the benefits that there are in video gaming, all of the different career paths, college opportunities, all these different things. So this is what we're exposing them to now. In the summer, we're starting, we're offering internships, we're doing summer camps.
Oh, yes.
The things that we
Oh,
can
my
do
gosh.
to open it up to really, and not just, well, and it is educating the parents, but we're also now working to educate the school system so that they can help us with educate the parents, and to really, we want to create this community that
Yes.
truly understands that there's value in it. And like you said, there is a new economy.
It is.
Esports is one of the fastest growing industries. It's the fastest growing sport. It's something, it's not going away. So let's help create pathways for these youth so they can take advantage of it.
Yeah,
Something that
totally.
they love. Yeah.
It's so funny because I was actually telling my family about, so my husband and I are military. So transitioning from military to esports company, our families were both like, I'm sorry, what? You're doing what with your life? Are you sure? That's a terrible life choice, and I'm going to judge you. Everyone except for my grandmother, weirdly, my 96-year-old grandmother, and I'm going, okay, what? And she's the judgiest of us all. And what she said is I remember when football became a big deal and kids were going to school for football, and everyone thought that was the stupidest thing ever, and that they shouldn't be allowing kids in college for sports because that's not what college is about. She goes, I remember all of that. And she goes, and now look, this is how we get kids educated. We get them to school by saying, you want to play soccer? You want to play baseball? You want to play wrestling? And she goes, so I guess I don't see the problem. I went through this already. This is just another sport. And I literally I just thought, this is a cycle. We've seen this before in history. We've just already forgotten somehow that a new sport or a new way of doing things or new technology comes around, and all of a sudden the young kids don't know any better. They eat it up, and that becomes part of their society and their culture. But for us, it's a little bit tougher where we're like, no, schools are for education, not for you to play games, you know? And I just thought that was really interesting that everybody kind of thinks that gaming is silly, but when you think about it, it is cyclical. We've done this over and over and over again, I feel like, with education and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. It gives me a little faith. Maybe we can get through. Fingers crossed.
Right.
I will say schools are the hardest.
I will have to bounce some ideas off of each other, sometime, some of the
For sure.
things that we're doing. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm totally down with that. I would
Well,
love
one of the
that.
things, if it's okay with you, and I know we've done this to a couple of times. We did it with the police officers. We've done it with a couple of other folks, and I know we've got this running list of the four of us, meaning the three that are on the screen, as well as Kara and everything. But we also love having people come back. So, Manny, just consider yourself a part of the family. And anytime you want to come back on, we would love to have you on and everything to bring that parent aspect as well. It just means that Jacoby might have to add another screen person onto the whole thing. So he'd be okay with that and everything.
He and his son can come on anytime. They are more than welcome. There's a lot of stuff that Contender, his son and I have discussed that we're going to be working on. And Vinny, you need to be a part of it as well. Especially because the same thing with your parents group is the same thing that I'm doing with the Durham Police Department, because I've got that program working
some
with
really great stuff with
the Durham PD, trying to do the kids working with the officers, teaching the officers the different games. They are having a ball now. Now doing it that way, now there's a bridge that's built. So instead of that I hate officers or let me prejudge this young child, hey, I know him.
If you get the chance, you should definitely go back and have a look at that video, the podcast. It's actually really cool, the stuff, the way that it helps them kind of get to know each other and the barriers it breaks down. Just hearing it from the police officers themselves, it's beautiful. It's actually really cool.
One of the games that right now, the head of that division that I've been working with, right now she's hooked on one of the video games and is asking to play it all the time. And that's that.
Which game is she hooked on?
It is. I'll tell you.
The Bomberman one.
Is
that what you were saying?
Yeah, Bomber Grounds. And how we were talking about battle royales dying out, or that was the question that you had asked, Mark, and I told you no, they are not. Bomber Grounds is a battle royale.
Feels like everything's battle royale at this point.
It's a huge trend.
It is.
I was telling them about Naraka right now. Naraka, I'm waiting for that to come out. Naraka Blade Point is that samurai battle royale that is freaking awesome. I played the beta test of it. It's supposed to come out in June or July, but they've been doing some beta tests. They did one in December. I didn't get to do that one. I got to do the one in April, and it played so great.
Really?
So, Siren, when that comes out, we're playing it a lot.
Okay, I'm in.
Hey, Siren, that actually raises a question that I'd love to hear all of y'all's thoughts on. I know we got to get ready to wind down shortly and everything. But when I've watched the Twitch channels, a lot of it is also when those people are baiting folks into getting money and things of that nature. It's also very, I hate to put it this way, but it's also very sexist because it's usually the women in the scantily clad outfits. So yes, they definitely will not be seeing me in the outfit or anything, and they're usually near a swimming pool or near something, their boudoir or their bedroom and everything. So definitely, what is your thoughts about
Boudoir.
that?
It's a very technical term.
Yeah.
Thought I told one in there for the folks that are listening. There was a different type of word and everything, but definitely, what are your thoughts about that? Because I know when I flip on these channels, it's a lot of times I'd say women
Oh yeah.
between 18 to let's say late 20s, and a lot of times they're oftentimes just sitting there by their swimming pool, and they're telling you they're by their swimming pool, and they're telling you that they want what's going on in their life. They might be playing a video game, or they might just be just walking around in a
Yeah.
scantily clad outfit while they're trying to collect the cryptocurrencies and or the real dollars.
Let's see. Let me put it to you this way. So I'm in the top 100 in the world of players for Clash Royale.
Mhm.
So I would like to say that I'm somewhat decent.
Right.
On my stream, I have people, not once, multiple times, I've had people say, "You're not a good enough player to have that much clothes on." Think
They
about
told
that.
you what?
I'm not a good enough player to have as much clothes on as I have on. In other words, if I'm not going to be more entertaining playing the game, I need to be more entertaining to their eyes if I want their money. Which most of the time those people end up getting blocked anyways, but
Right.
it happens often, especially to females. So I say that right now I kind of look naked, but this would be the most showy I'll ever get. Because I'm 40 and I have 2 kids and one of them's going to college. Like, I don't need to show anything. I'm good.
Right.
I like to be on there to play the games and for marketing. That's it. The
Right.
amount of times that I hear that, though, like, if you're not going to be good enough to keep my attention with the game, then you need to be prettier. You need to have better makeup. You need to be closer. You need to have a lower shirt. You need to, yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, the ladies sell themselves. And that's one of those things that I mean, it's the oldest profession. I don't necessarily know that we're going to get away from that.
Right.
Unfortunately, that I don't think that that's new. I just think that it's more available. So I just feel like it's being brought to the forefront. It happens often, but I wouldn't say that most of my commenters or comments are of that nature. So
Yeah.
it kind of just depends. As gaming is expanding, you're going to expand into different groups where you have more nice people that are nicer in different ranges, and then more creeps and creepy. We're expanding the economy, so we're going to be expanding the fan base, which means we're expanding the psychos.
Yeah, you gotta expand those as well. It's actually interesting because my show yesterday on the online dinner party, I had a young lady who's a business leader and everything, and she's actually a widowed, because she said that the last boyfriend had passed away, well, divorced, and now I guess technically widowed because her boyfriend has passed. So, excuse me, has passed away and all of that. So she's gone through all of that, but she's got 2 twins that are into the track races, and they're actually among the top competitors. So she was actually having a conversation about even how the dating life is impacting her life as a business coach, because sometimes people will be trying to ask her some off the wall things as well, and what she's trying to do is sell her ebook and be somewhat of a business coach and everything. So you're right, it's impacting a lot of folks. This young lady, I think she just said she just recently turned 50, so she just hit the 50 mark, and like you, even though she's
It doesn't really
single,
matter. They don't
even
care.
though she's single, she's not really trying to rush into anything, and she's
No.
trying to deal with getting her kids, and her kids are like elite athletes, so they are like seen as some of the top
Right.
track runners in the country in the cross country field. So she's trying to be
But-
a solid mother and everything.
Yeah, but the thing is like, I'm fully aware that if I'm going to put myself out there socially and publicly, that's how it works. I'll have 60% of normal people. There'll be 10% of really, really sweet people and 10% of really psychotic people that are, you know what I mean, in the spectrums of each one of those. And I'm aware of that. So as long as she's aware of it, I don't necessarily, it sucks, but that's people for you, you know?
Vinny, have you run across those kind of folks in the Twitch land? And what is your thoughts when you run across them? Like I said, I was just actually, of course, doing research for this show and also just having guests and different people that are in all kinds of businesses, including movie makers and others that are and gamers that are in that Twitch space. And sometimes some of these folks, I'm not even sure that they're like Siren. I don't know that some of them are as elite as they should be, but they get the views because they're willing to do some crazy stuff.
Yeah, they are.
Well, and I agree with all the comments that you all have said. There's really nothing else that I can add. But I guess it is what it is. I mean, that's the way they feel that to advertise, like you said, to bring people in to get the subscription. So that's what they do. I really believe that we can. I think part of this, when we started off with the question, how can we change this or what have you? But I think it's just a matter of enough people start doing the right thing, and over time, then that's what people hopefully want to gravitate towards, and that's what people say. Hey, this I want to watch quality over everything else, and I think that's what it's going to take. So those of us who are doing it the right way, we have to stay the course and keep doing it, and realize
it comes back to I agree, and it even comes back to something that Siren said earlier. It's been going on forever because I remember that a show that I'm not gonna lie, I used to like watching it and everything, but they oftentimes would set things that were impossible and crazy and all of that. Because I'm still trying to figure out why Charlie's Angels had the entire episode where they were in bathing suits in the middle of a ski resort and all of that. So it was one of their episodes where they're in the middle of a ski resort, but somehow they managed to get Farrah Fawcett or Cheryl Ladd or whoever the person was at that time in a bathing suit. So I'm going like, wait a minute, the crime has happened in Colorado. Y'all are at a ski resort. Why do we need to have the bathing suit shot and everything?
It's funny that you say that because that's what I was thinking more or less is this to me, this whole Twitch streaming thing feels like the same cycle that we went through with like cable TV, where TV had one or two things, and then as we expanded, we built on. You get more specific channels like Spike that's got a little bit more crude, a little bit more masculine crap, and then you got Lifetime that's a little bit more feminine crap, and you know what I mean? We start breaking off into individual, specific genres. And I feel like now we're starting to get into that a little bit more where, we have our Skinemax. It's called OnlyFans, and we've got, you know what I'm saying? Like we're kind of turning into like cable TV, weirdly enough. And it's not even by game, it's by gamer, where you got me who's Clash, and yet I still cuss like a sailor and I make 12-year-old inappropriate jokes because I think they're funny and I giggle like a little kid. That you can find that in Call of Duty and in all of that, and that would kind of be like one channel. One, like, this is the bro channel. This is where you go hang out with your bros, Then you got players that are just high-level players that you watch for their skill, That's your ESPN of channels. And you know what I mean? I think we're kind of doing that naturally. The economy is evolving that way naturally. But I think what you said, Mark, is actually brilliant because it really is a lot to me like TV in the way that it's kind of evolving, or at least that's how it seems. Maybe I'm wrong.
It definitely seems like TV and everything. And like I said, I mentioned earlier, I know we'll get ready to wind down whenever Jacoby's ready for me to pull the plug. But I do have one question I'm curious about. It has nothing to do with necessarily gaming, but it does have to do with sports. And it comes back to something that we talked about recently. I think it might have been last week, which was that lovely horse that won and everything. But now they have said that the horse was drugged. But part of the problem that I have with the whole drug horse is that the horse was taking a bomb. So what I'm hearing now is that the horse was not even, well, one, we know the horse wasn't intentionally drugged because the horse didn't know he was getting drugged. But apparently they were rubbing the horse down because of tendonitis in its leg before the race. And it was the balm that has the ingredient that is what is the problem and everything. So that would be almost like one of our athletes getting rubbed down. And I know Vinny said he was a former football player and not knowing what's in the balm, and then them coming back and being like, oh, sorry, you were drugged and you didn't even know you were drugged. So I was wondering everybody's thoughts on that, because that was my problem when I was hearing this. I was like, wait a minute. Well, one, I knew the horse, because it's a horse, had no idea what was going on. But then two, I'm sitting there going like, even the trainers probably didn't know, because they were just giving the balm and putting the balm on the horse because the horse was hurt. So,
Wait,
like I
what
said,
was
it
in
made
the
no
bomb
sense to
though?
me.
Was it was it an upper or a downer?
I
Do you
can't
know?
remember. I thought it was an amphetamine that actually
I was gonna
it was
say-
some type of performance enhancer that they
I would
felt.
assume an upper. Could you imagine if the trainer didn't know? They got horse crack on their hands? Are you kidding me? You know, the horse is doing well, but the trainer's like, fuck my bike. Everybody, let's go run around. Do you have a bicycle? Let's get a bike. Everybody, let's go do things. Like, I hope the trainer knew.
It made me laugh because the only thing that popped in my head was Ray Lewis talking about the deer antler spray that he supposedly had.
Right.
Deer antlers.
That was his thing, was deer antler spray for performance enhancing.
What?
Yeah.
That's a thing? I don't even.
Apparently,
I
with
don't know
Ray
what to
Lewis,
do
it
with
was
my
a thing. As a former athlete, what is your thoughts? Because, like I said, I was upset that they cheated on the horse. Because when I first heard it, I was like, okay, they know they cheated. And then the article I read yesterday or the day before was like, we're using this balm and it's got this ingredient in it, so it's actually in the ingredient.
Oops.
But
what?
But
Vinny,
you take
my
it away.
question is, generally they have like a list of things like that people know ahead of time that you can and cannot use. So I'm wondering, it was that balm on that list.
So
I mean, I grew up on a cattle farm.
I think they got caught. And you heard the excuse. The first thing that he said is that this is cancel culture trying to stop us. Like, come on, dude, you just got caught with your rubbing your horse down with something that's already illegal.
Mm-hmm.
This ain't no cancel culture. Come on.
Look, I grew up on an 1,100-acre cattle farm, and I am telling you right now that nobody is putting anything on a $2.7 million horse that they don't know exactly what's in it. Like, absolutely not. Especially if that racing horse is injured.
Mm-hmm.
At no point is that trainer like, I'm sorry, what is this unknown substance? Yeah, sure, let's put it on my multi-million-dollar horse.
Yeah.
That's I don't feel like they thought that logic through at all. Like
that's why as soon as he said, "Oh, this is cancel culture," what
is it, bro? Is it? That's what you went with? Was cancel culture?
Well, and the other thing that I know that Nick, who's one of the founders of this league, of this station and everything, brought up is apparently Mr. Baffert, who is the owner of the horse, or at least one of the main trainers and everything, is also good friends with Tom Brady. And also good friends with the owner of the New England Patriots. So
so he deflated his saddle.
Yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah. He doesn't.
You gotta make
exactly.
the saddle deflated a little bit.
Yeah, he recorded all the other horses, then deflated his saddle, so he knew to go faster.
He's just gonna keep watching it.
Yeah, I know what that horse does.
It's funny because it's true.
Guilty as he can be at everything. So, Benny, is that your thoughts the same? That this man just needs to like give it up and everything because definitely he just is wrong as he can be.
And honestly, I have not even followed any of this, so I mean, it's really all kind of new to me. So I don't have any facts to go off of. So I'll just follow your lead on that one.
Sweet.
Hold on, Vinny,
he's following us off the bridge. I love it.
Yeah, Vinny. You can't play that role on the game did. You know that man was wrong.
Look, I mean, I knew some horse won. I heard something else was going on. I haven't followed it. I don't watch TV. I mean,
I'm sorry. All I can think about now is a deflated saddle. I can't stop laughing. Oh God!
You've got the whole deflated saddle on your mind and everything. And Vinny's over here trying to deny, even though he plays college football, and we know he probably saw something going on in the college football ranks, and he's sitting there going like, "No, there had to be something wrong."
No, nothing, never in NCAA. Well, heck no. We all know that's the most honest ever.
Oh, that honest organization called the NCAA.
Yeah. We all know how honest that is. It's wonderful.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out how they're going to, and this is not the NCAA, but I'm still trying to figure out how the NBA is basically going to have a tournament, which is basically Why are we even having this play-in game? Because baseball
That is
just let
awful.
everybody
Yeah, why
in.
is that?
They
I
might as well
would
let everybody in because we're talking 20 teams out of
so
basically 26. So you might as well let
Do you know,
everybody in.
Jacoby?
well. So this is actually, I think this is actually a brilliant concept to make teams play. Because the problem that the NBA runs across and the problem that the NFL runs across, Major League Baseball doesn't hit it as much, and hockey
Because they have
doesn't
a
hit it as
game
much.
every day or something stupid like that.
But the issue is tanking, and
Yes.
this right here avoids that by taking the two teams that are in the play-in game. They're automatically in the lottery. So if you don't make so in
In
that
other words,
play-in tournament,
regardless of how you do, you're still in the running. Therefore, tanking wouldn't
yeah,
give
so
you
if
any advantage.
yeah, basically. So you want to play your hardest to the end. So now you don't have
Okay.
teams sitting there, hey, I'm going to lose because now I can get the number one pick. Now, if you get to that number 9 spot where you miss the turn, miss that playoffs,
Mhm.
you're already in the top 3 in the lottery. So
You just
now
blew
you
my
want to
mind.
play.
I had
Now
no
you want
idea. That makes
you're in
so
that
much
big
sense.
lottery. I don't think it's top 3. I'm sorry, it might be top 5. But yeah, you're
Regardless,
already in
that
that
makes
lottery
sense.
conversation trying to get big extra help. So now
All
you
right.
want to play regardless of where you fall. So I think it's a brilliant concept to fight against tanking, which I really like because I'm tired
I
of
did not
seeing.
even consider that. That is so
Yeah, I
smart.
ain't thought of it in that context, and that
Right,
is a
Mark?
So
smart
I
idea.
never considered that.
Yeah. But
That's
yeah,
pretty brilliant.
that's why I
and
like
it's
it.
going to bring up some interesting games because right now we could have two of the historically speaking greatest teams of all playing in the play-in game because right now it looks like the Golden State Warriors will be playing against the Lakers in that first game.
And Steph Curry is nuts. He is the most feared basketball player on the planet right now.
That's gonna be crazy.
I mean, the dude, when
I love
you
Steph Curry
have the
though.
number one team in the West
I love
send
him.
4 players to quadruple team one player,
Hmm.
you are the most feared player in the NBA. I
Yeah,
don't
he
care
still
who you are.
scored, by the way. Just
Yeah, I
want to throw
know,
that
which is
out there.
crazy.
I just want to throw that out there, by the way. That little
The dude
scenario
is
you just painted, he still
ridiculous.
scored. Like,
Yeah. I mean, if you don't double team him, triple team him, quadruple team him, I mean, he's putting up 40 points.
hmm He's
So
awesome.
So even though he might be playing LeBron in the full Lakers, he's still the most feared player. So he still
yes,
might be able to knock him out the entire
he has a
equation.
shot. He
Yeah.
has a
It's because
shot
he's
because
so agile. He's so
so
fucking
the
agile.
what
Sorry.
so one thing so in basketball, the two things that you never want to have happen is to be able to, you don't want your defense to collapse, which is what Shaq did. Shaq
Mhm.
changed the game because he made people, every player would collapse because you knew if Shaq got the ball, he's scoring on whoever is going at him 1-on-1. There's no
Yeah.
stopping Shaq down low. It's similar with Kareem. Kareem had the sky hook. You could double team him, but back then they never thought about sending 4 people and collapsing the offense and playing basically a zone. So
hmm
Shaq changed that game that way. Steph changed the game the opposite direction
Yeah.
because when you can
Yes.
jack up a 3 at roughly 50% from half court,
Yep. Yep.
you got to get out there. So
He's my favorite.
he makes
Curry's my
that
favorite.
defense have to stretch so far. So now that makes either 1-on-1 or, it just opens up the lane. So now you can hit a man
hmm
in the middle and get a jump shot, hit a man on the wing because he's wide open because you
Well,
cannot
it's smart
rotate that.
too. It's smart too because it forces them wide, regardless
Mhm.
of whatever play ends up getting changed in the middle. In
Yep.
any of your exterior wings, it still is always going to pull them open. Your lanes will always open up because of the way that they stretch them out. So it
Yep.
doesn't even matter when it changes; it stays fluid and it continues
Mhm.
to keep it open. I fucking love it. I love it so much.
And
It's so beautiful.
the fact that he's nonstop motion makes it
Yep.
even worse because now you're having a man chase him the whole time and he
Well,
can
at
run
least one.
decoys.
At least one.
Yeah, at least
And that's what makes
again.
it cool too. Is they'll give him the ball. I mean, and he's so agile. They'll weave him in and out to
Mhm.
intentionally rearrange the defending team. So by the time they actually move for the point, like once they actually start moving offensively, they're so rearranged in the
Yep.
back they can't even cover.
So you
It's
got
beautiful.
backdoor cut.
Beautiful.
You got right there the high post cut. You got everything that can happen because
Mhm.
the whole team is so focused on Curry because he will put up 40 in a heartbeat because he hit threes from everywhere on the court.
He's putting up threes left and right, and he is a dangerous player. And like I said, I'm rooting for one team, and that's because of my college affiliations and everything. And right now, they are the number one seed in the East, even though right now they're trying not to solidify that because they've had a couple of chances to just close it out. But I need them to go ahead and close it out, beat Orlando at least one game, or have Brooklyn lose something so we can have Philadelphia go on and everything. So I need Philadelphia to go ahead and be that number one and everything. They're playing them twice. So guess what?
No, Philly will. I'm already picking Philly or Milwaukee coming out of the East. I don't have faith in the Nets because the Nets don't play defense on the inside.
Yep.
And
Mike over the Nets?
Yeah, Mike D'Antoni's system has never worked to take anybody to the championship game. You can try the game of outscoring people and not playing defense.
Yeah, that's
but
valid.
Once you get in the playoffs, you got to play defense. And you're in the East,
sucks. You're right.
You got to be able to hold down the middle. If
Who you got coming out of the West, Jacoby? Who you got coming out of the West? Because, like I said, I'm not trusting Utah. Honestly,
I will give it up for either Phoenix or Utah to come out of the West.
Phoenix.
Yeah,
that's the dark horse. I think Phoenix.
I don't think Denver has it because once Jamal Murray went down, that hurt. I don't think LA is going to do it because there's too much wear and tear on both Antonio Davis and LeBron James.
And they don't have the backup anymore that they had.
No,
and the Clippers can't do it.
I don't see the Clippers ever making it there, but I do see Phoenix or Utah because Utah after last year and Donovan Mitchell coming back, they're going to be nasty. And Phoenix because Brooks is playing out of his mind. Chris Paul is playing out of his mind.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I mean, and they've also got somebody in the middle with DeAndre Ayton. So, yeah, I can see Phoenix coming out. So I'll say either it's one or two, or one or two.
If Phoenix doesn't come out this year, they're coming out next year. I'm convinced.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah.
What about yourself, Benny? Who's your picks for the NBA, or for that matter, the NFL? Because the NFL is not that far away.
Are we going football?
Yeah.
Well, my favorite team is the Knicks. I mean, I don't see them doing a whole lot, but better season than they've had in a while. So.
Julius might be like Phoenix. I can see them winning in about another year or two. So, like I said, depending on who they get, I can see them definitely being a contender, if not this year, next year.
Mm-hmm.
That's valid for sure. Next year, yeah.
And then y'all skipped over the football one at Mark.
No, we would come back to Benny on that on football. So, Benny, who's your football team? My football team routinely sucks, and I know they suck, but I'm not a fair weather fan. So I'm a Vikings fan.
Lions.
I will be a Vikings fan all the time. So I'm going to stick with my Vikings no matter what goes on. And Carolina, because of being a Carolina guy, will be always my second team. But those are my two teams. I'm sticking with them.
Yeah, I'm a Giant fan, growing up in New York. So,
Giants.
Big Giant fan.
Jacoby.
And similarly, I'm sorry?
Oh, go for it. And similarly what?
Oh, no, I was going to say, and similarly to number two, I follow the Panthers.
Panthers.
Okay.
Yeah. Before we get to Jacoby, I got a question to ask Benny since he's a New York native and everything. And this is a question I have for all my New York natives. Are you a Mets or a Yankee New Yorker? Because it seems that there's a difference.
Super important.
Yes, I know that one.
So interestingly enough, I'm neither. I'm
if you say Red Sox, I swear to okay.
Dodgers fan?
Because they used to be the Brooklyn Dodgers. My dad grew up during that time.
That's right.
So I
forgot about
a Dodgers fan because he was. So whenever they used to come and play at Shea Stadium, play the Mets, we used to go and watch the Dodgers play there. So I'm a Dodgers fan.
Okay.
That's actually super sweet.
Yeah. It was school. It was school that got me into my baseball team, and I like my Vikings. I am a diehard Brewers fan, and right now we're doing all right. So right now we're not doing too bad, but we also have this habit of, as Jacoby knows, doing really good, started off the season really great, and then we get chased down by St. Louis or somebody else and do a crash and burn. So we have this horrible habit of that. So I'm hoping this is the year of the non-crash and burn, but who knows?
And you threw me off with the trio because it's always Nets, Jets, Mets,
Okay.
Giants, Yankees, and who's that? The Knicks.
Knicks.
So it's always that trio. If you like the Knicks, you like the Giants, you like the Yankees. If you like the Nets, you like the Mets, and you like the Jets.
Right.
I'll remember the rhyming one. I will not remember the other.
Cyrus like, I can remember that when they rhyme.
Yeah, that's all I got.
I'm curious who your football
all
team
day
is.
long.
Who's your football team, Siren?
Oh, so I'm an NCAA. I like my alma mater, the Sooners. But if I have to pick a football team for NFL, I don't know. I really like the Vikings. I met them once when I was a kid, and it kind of like stuck in my head, if that makes sense. But I think the Bucks. We lived in Tampa after our last deployment, our first time.
Fair weather fan.
Yes, I know, but I couldn't help it. It was like you get so excited when you get back to the States, and then they have shiny things and food, and then they say, "Hey, if you work on base, we'll give you free tickets." And I was like, I love you. That's not my fault. They bought
like
my
the free
heart.
tickets. The free ticket does it every time.
Thank you. They bought me, and I know that I shouldn't do that, but I'm not sorry, and I would totally put those tickets again. So.
And I know you said we were going to get off of this earlier, but I know as we're winding down, Jacoby, are the Bulls going to do anything this year for those that care about minor league? Because we had a whole year off last year because of the pandemic. We've been off for a while. So are we going to have a good season this year?
I'll call it right now. I think we're going to win that division.
Minor league baseball?
Yep, AAA.
Yep.
The Durham Bulls.
Yes.
The AAA affiliate of the Tampa Bay Rays.
Yes.
So you're calling it right now. We're going to win that division. Cool.
Yeah,
I like
we'll win
that.
our division.
I forgot that the Tampa Rays were y'all's guys. I totally forgot that. It freaks me out too because the Yankees AAA team is the one in Tampa. Why is that? Why can't I watch the Rays AAA team? Because it's in North Carolina, but then the Yankees one is in Tampa, and then
So the Yankees, everybody goes to Tampa or the Port Charlotte for the actual warm-ups and stuff, but the Yankees AAA is in Rochester.
I mean, it says Yankees.
Scranton Wilkes-Barre is the Yankees.
I think you should Google it. It definitely is there. Like I've been there. I went and saw.
Yeah, I think that's their either single A or their double
A. Okay. Maybe it's double A. Oh, okay.
Yeah, because their triple A it used to be Scranton Wilkes-Barre Yankees, but they're the Scranton Wilkes-Barre Rail Riders now.
But what? Somebody explain to me why they're not in the place. Why aren't they in the place with the things? With the stuff,
it's weird how they do AAA, and every Major League Baseball has at least 5 teams associated with it, and they could be scattered throughout, the U.S. anywhere. Like you have
my brother actually got a scholarship to OU for baseball.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I mean, I grew up around baseball. So I get it. Why don't they have them in the frickin' town? The frickin' place is in, because I want to see my minor league teams. Dang it!
So the only one that I can think that is really like right beside it is Gwinnett and Atlanta. Yeah, the Atlanta Braves, their AAA.
How do you remember that? That was impressive. Wow.
Well, being associated with a AAA team, you begin to.
Cool.
And not just associated, it's been associated for a number of years. Because how long have you been with the Bulls now? It's got to be pushing near 15 or 20, if not longer.
I didn't know you were with them. Now it makes way more sense. You buried the lead on that. You buried the lead. I was like, he's really into this. How does he know all of this?
I kind of keep up
now
with
I get it. Okay.
But yeah,
I feel less guilty for not knowing now.
But yeah, Gwinnett, They are right there near Atlanta. They
Yeah.
used to be in Richmond.
Right.
So
It moved.
oh, Nivix pointed out that the Bulls squished Memphis last week. Memphis Redbirds.
Yes.
Yeah, we beat Memphis Redbirds last week. But yes, yeah. So there's Toledo and Detroit's the Tigers. Their affiliate is Charlotte. So no, I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm
they're all
sorry.
over the
The
place because
White
I think,
Sox. The
yeah, because I
Chicago
think,
White Sox is Charlotte.
yeah,
Detroit is
What?
yeah,
because
This
the
is
Charlotte
just like
Knights.
yeah. So I mean,
Well,
it's just all over. But every major league team has like at least 5 teams associated with it.
that's
because the
crazy.
Mudcats is Double A, and I think that they're the Brewers team, if I remember correctly, for Double A.
Are they the Brewers? Yeah, they might be the Brewers.
Yeah.
Like the Grasshoppers or somebody's affiliate. I always forget. But yeah, it's just it's crazy to keep up with. But yeah, it's wild. There's just so many teams out there. So many teams.
I apologize, gentlemen, but I have a meeting in 3 minutes.
Well, we're
I have
going
to
to
get
get off
off.
anyway.
I'm
I've
so
been
we're
about
sorry.
that
close
anyway.
up shop
And actually,
now.
Toby's got to go to do a doubleheader later on today because
Yeah,
that's a home game. And what time is the first game? Is it at 5?
Yep, first game, gates open at 5 o'clock, starts at 5:30.
5 o'clock.
But we'll go ahead and close the show, give Siren her opportunity to tell everybody how everybody can follow her since she has to jump off.
Yep, sorry. Siren with Cito Gaming. We are a competitive esports educational tournament coordinator. Crap in the cracker. My name is yeah. Cito is the mother of monsters, so every game has an associated monster. I am your mobile player and Overwatch player. We have Leviathan for Call of Duty. We have Cerberus for League of Legends, Moby Dick for Fortnite, and we have Lemia for crap on a cracker. Another one that I can't remember to save my life. I'm so sorry. If you are interested in any Call of Duty tournaments currently where we are running our free series, it's free to enter solos and duos alternating on Saturdays. It's a $50 win if you get first. And we are also expanding now out into universities from our high school programs. The high school program stood up, and now we're expanding to universities. If you're interested, please go to our website or contact any of your Cito Monsters for details.
Awesome.
Yay! All right, I do have to jet, but thank you so much, everybody. I'm sorry I was late, but I will definitely see you guys next week.
We'll see you next week. Hopefully, I'm going to have some of the Twitch streamers on. I'm trying to reach out to them and everything. So hopefully that will happen, and hopefully you'll be here to have that conversation with them. At least that's my game plan. Is I'm trying to dig them up. And Siren,
Denny, come back.
I need you to create a video game really quickly for the people that are horrible. So I need a set of like a whole status of people that are like the worst, so that I have a chance of winning the $50. So I need you to create a level.
I got you, Mark. All right, bye, guys.
All right, see ya. All right, since I guess we're gonna close up shop, Vinny, we don't want to keep you here. It's already we're coming up on 2:30, so I know we all got to get something to eat. So, Vinny, tell everybody how to keep in contact with you and Contender.
Yeah, so our website is contendercarry.com, and that's where we have all of our all of our information's out there on our website, and we know everything that we do. So yeah, go out there to contendercarry.com, and then we're in the Waverly Place Shopping Center in Cary, so just come and pop on in.
Awesome.
Vinny, before I get to my part and everything, tell them the name of the group for the meetup group in case folks want to join you there as well.
It's the parents who have children, parents of children who love playing video games. So parents of children who love playing video games. That's our meetup group, and yes, like I said, we meet once a month, and it's different days. It's not the same like third Wednesday of every month or anything like that. But our next meetup is Wednesday, the 19th So Wednesday, May 19th at 7 o'clock. And like I said, the children are welcome to come as well. And we have, they can just play games and have a good time. And we'll have a meetup.
Awesome.
Sounds great,
Awesome.
and hopefully we'll get you back here in the near future and everything. Definitely hope that you didn't get worn out by us by this 2.5 hour show and everything, and hopefully you'll want to come back.
All good, all good.
Cool. Glad that you thoroughly enjoyed it. I know I've enjoyed having the chance to meet you and talk to you and everything along those lines. For folks that are interested in either doing special events or media consulting or a number of the other things that I'm involved in, you can find me via email at bluesradio@gmail.com and on most social media sites under Lee Entertainment 62. So like I said, if you look under those, you'll find me on things like Twitter and on things like Facebook, Twitch, and a number of other places. So hopefully you'll have a chance to do that. And I'm actually going to throw a new one out there and everything, because as Jatofi said, we're doing this as a labor of love and all of that. So actually, I can always use support. And if Jatofi wants to give his as well, I won't have any problem with it. And the same with Kara and Siren when they come back. But we do have a Cash App. So the Cash App is $ Mark Lee 1962. So if anybody wants to go ahead and make those donations, we have no problem whatsoever. And Jatovi can give his as well. And who knows, maybe next week I'll give the PayPal. But that was the Cash App.
Mark trying to get paid. All right, Mark. All right. Glad the Cash App is out there now.
Yes.
I will donate as much as I can, which might not be anything.
Understood.
But I will definitely follow you. And
Thank you.
hopefully the views will help promote you more, and you'll be able to get out there and get money from YouTube and Twitch.
Exactly.
See? And I guess for me, it's just mainly Bull City GG on Facebook, Bull City GG on Twitch, and then BCG Esports on YouTube. Follow me there. Mainly follow on Twitch, follow on YouTube, follow on Facebook. Either way, just follow, come play. I don't know anything else to say. That rhymes. Ha ha!
Hey, you're on a rabbit kick. You did the whole Mets, Jets, and Nets
Yep.
thing. You just
That was
didn't do
pretty
it.
good. That was good.
See? The 5 greatest rappers of all time. Dylan, and Dylan. I spit that hot fire.
Jatovi's got a whole other career. We thought he was doing great as a sports commentator on the field games. We thought he was doing great in improv. We knew he was doing great in esports, and now we find out that he's one of the top 5 rappers in the world as well. So
Top
definitely he's
5.
got a whole new career and all of that.
But all right, I guess join us next week. Actually, next week, Mark, if you're not even able to get the Twitch streamers, which will add more to it, we will have potentially Christopher Moore, who has done a few horror films or horror shorts and won some awards for them. Back to the word horror, it's always such a weird word to say. It looks like you stubbed your toe, but horror. But he's done some great film stuff. He's a really good guy. Also, Bianca Mitchell is 16. She's 16 years old, and I think done a film as well. So we can have 2 filmmakers on next week.
Cool. And if I don't get the Twitchers, that just gave me an idea. I might try to reach out to John Howie, who is not, I think he may be somewhat into video games, but if you're into horror movies and all of that, and you remember the soundtrack of Jeepers Creepers, he did that. He lives here in this area, and he did it along with If Merritt. So I might try to see if John Howie wants to pop in and talk about that aspect of video games and music.
Get him on. That'd be awesome. And Vinny, you can come back too. You can talk about horror movies. It'd be awesome. But we'll go ahead and get off here. And we'll see everybody next week. Vinny, thank you for joining us. Mark.
Hey, I appreciate you having me.
Big shout outs. Kara, who Mark calls Cara still for some reason. But Kara.
Got the name right today.
But Kara, had to step off early. She couldn't say it, so I'm gonna make sure we have to point it out. Make sure to follow Kara with Deepen Roots Health Coaching on Facebook. Make sure to follow at Deepen Roots on Facebook. So we'll see Kara hopefully next week. She had a scheduling conflict this week, but she's part of the family, so we'll see her then. But again, before we begin to ramble on again, we'll go ahead and close out the show. Thank everybody for joining us, and we'll see everybody next week.
Take care. Have a good one.
Do the same.
Will do.